and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan, and have we got an episode of the 100 Experts for you today? Yes, we have. Guys, this is going to be the best episode of the season so far because we've got extra information this week. We're going to be looking into chip usage among our experts. We're going to be looking at how many double game week players our experts have, as well as some really interesting stats about defender replacements. If you're looking for a new defender this game week, then this is the video for you guys. Make sure you do drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Let's have a look at our experts first of all. So a big shout out to our 100 FPL experts, pundits and content creators and veterans and very high ranking individuals that have helped us out with their data this week. It is super interesting to see what they've been up to this week, and my oh my, are they up to things this week? Yes, they really are. Things are going crazy in the world of chips, in the world of transfers, and I cannot wait to share this data with you. So out of our 100 expert managers, 39% are making one transfer this week, 19% are making two transfers, 6% are making three transfers, and let me tell you, there's a lot of -4s flying about this week. There really is. We've got one person on a free hit, which we're going to cover in just 1 second. We have also got 35% making no transfers this week, which is quite a significant number. I think a lot of our experts are actually looking to roll a transfer this week as they're already ready and set up with their double game week players, and perhaps looking to roll two transfers into game week 26 so they can make multiple transfers to kind of escape from many players who do blank next week. Of course, Luton, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs all blanking in game week 26, so maybe rolling a transfer, saving one for that next game week could be really beneficial in terms of improving your team there. So guys, let's move on and, see what chips are being used, because they really are. There's so many. Okay, so 0% using a wildcard. Not really a wildcard week. It really is a week to use one of your powerful chips to maximize points in this individual game week. And then we've got 3% using a bench boost this week. I know a few of you guys will be thinking about using a bench boost this week. This is the first time this season we've seen our experts really having any trend towards a bench boost. I know 3% is not a huge number, but it still is the beginning of a bit of a trend for bench boost. But who can forget this stat? 90%. 9 in 10 of the top managers will be using their triple captain chip this game week. That is an insane number. That is ridiculously high. We are never going to see anything like this at all this season, where so many of the top FPL managers are all converging on this same solution for this game week, which is the triple captain chip. Oh my word, that is just, it's crazy to me. It really is crazy to me. But it tells us, it gives us a very clear indication for us as spectators of the expert managers that this is the week to triple captain. The next opportunities really are going to be Solanke in game week 28, which is okay, but it's no Erling Haaland, or really is it? We've got kind of game week 37, where we will see the likes of Haaland and Salah doubling in game week 37 most likely. But the fixtures are mostly away fixtures, most likely. And also, it's they're not going to be as strong fixtures as the teams do have this week. So, yeah, this is the week to triple captain, guys. It really is. Get it done, play it. We're going to see later on in the video who are the triple captain players, but I think you can probably make a good guess of who's going to be the main guy. 1% on a free hit, so yeah, no real trend here, but it is still interesting to see that there is one person going for the free hit chip this week. If you're not set up very well for game week 25, then maybe a free hit is the solution for you this week. If you think you're able to cover future blank game weeks and double game weeks without the use of a free hit, maybe you can use it now as long as you're not set up. And we've only got 6% not using a chip this week, so barely anyone is going into this game week without a chip. And honestly, looking at those numbers, I would be a little bit concerned if I was going into this game week without playing a chip, particularly that triple captain chip. So yeah, there we go, guys. Chips are being flown about today, and it's all about the triple captain chip. So back on the subject of transfers, so the most popular Game Week 25 transfers in the world among the overall FPL player base. Well, we've got Erling Haaland at the top, #1. Loads of people bringing him in for a very good reason. If you haven't got him already, what are you waiting for? Diogo Jota is there in second with Darwin in third. After that, the numbers do drop off a little bit, but I want to have a look at some of the trends here. Do our experts agree with any of these transfers in? Well, yes, they do. Darwin, Foden, Tony, Ake, and Van Dijk also showing significant interest among among our experts. Although I have to say, some players that our experts seem to love are not really being spoken about, not really being brought in by the overall FPL player base. So although we've got a few kind of, a few similarities between the overall player base and the expert managers, there's actually a few real key, potentially differential players that I think maybe a lot of people are maybe not seeing, missing out on, that our experts really have a lot of faith in. Aside from that, guys, we have got a couple of players that our experts just are not interested in at all. Højlund, no surprise there. Obviously, I mean, I say this so many times, but it really is the truth. The Man United fans, they rule FPL. They really do rule FPL, and whenever a Man United player is in form, he will be bought. But our experts typically are less biased when it comes to their own team, and they'll be looking more closely at the double game week players. And what we're going to see here is a strong trend that our experts are pretty much only going to be bringing in double game week players this season. And Højlund, despite the fact he has a good fixture against Luton, is just not that guy. Similar situation with Heung-min Son. We know he's an FPL legend, returning to the Spurs team with a return in game week 24, but no double game week, blank game week next week for Son, no interest. And Adebayo, I know a couple of our experts do have him, but he's not really a super hype pick, and I think the priority is maybe elsewhere. If you were going to buy a Luton player, maybe last game week was slightly more preferable to this game week, since we do have that blank in 26 immediately after, which just leaves a few more players here. Haaland, Diogo Jota. I think most of our experts already have these players. If you know, there's still a few transfers trickling in for these players, but not anything significant. You know, top managers are way ahead of the game when it comes to Haaland and Diogo Jota. Same situation with Gabriel. Most of our experts already have him. And Luis Diaz, you know, one transfer in for him, not really too much interest in Luis Diaz, and I think that is due in part to Salah. He's back in training, and I think Salah is going to eat into the minutes of some of these Liverpool attackers, and Luis Diaz, you think, would maybe be one of the first players on the chopping block, with Diogo Jota and Darwin perhaps showing a little bit more form over the last month or so. So yeah, not too much interested in Luis Diaz, Gabriel, Diogo Jota, Haaland, but that's not necessarily because they're bad picks. It's just because our experts have these players already, with maybe the exception of Luis Diaz. So the most popular transfers out among our experts, well, we've got a new name right at the top, and this is something we need to talk about, particularly as I put Trent as a keep in my video yesterday, the buy, sell, keep, avoid video. But things have changed. Things move very fast in the world of football, the world of FPL, as we very well know. And what we found out today is that Trent's prospects for this game week are looking worse and worse. The rumours are going crazy. There's been a couple of potential leaks there that Trent could be out for a couple of weeks with an aggravated injury. And if he is going to be out, then he probably needs to be sold, given that he's not going to be available for game week 25 when he has this double that he won't have. Game week 26, he's going to be not playing because Liverpool don't have a fixture in game week 26. And then after that, you know, we've got some tough fixtures. We've got Nottingham Forest, but then we've got Manchester City. We've got a blank coming up in 29, most likely for Liverpool as well. So I think it's very easy at this point to sell a defender like Trent, who is so expensive. You can downgrade him, free up some cash, and make some other moves in your team. So Trent, by far the most popular transfer out among our experts. And I think more and more of our experts, as we approach deadline, I think this number could actually go up, because Trent, among top FPL managers, is probably around 40, 50, maybe even 60% owned. A lot of our top managers still have Trent in their team, so I can see him getting removed more and more and more as we approach deadline. Pedro Porro, been disappointing recently, not registering any attacking returns over the last couple of game weeks, not even really looked dangerous, to be fair, and no clean sheets. That's typical of Spurs. Palmer, 13, removing him, which is interesting because Palmer is actually like 80-90% owned among our experts. So to see only 13% removing him, that kind of does show us that that maybe he isn't a player to sell. If you can bench him for this week against Man City, then I think that's fine. A lot of people have kind of 8 attackers. They have to bench one. Maybe Palmer is the one you bench against Manchester City, but I don't think there's any problem with starting him either, to be fair. But this is not about me. Solanke and Watkins also make up the top 5 for transfers out as well. Maybe some people were looking to move these guys to a new forward, maybe a double game week forward. So yeah, let's see what kind of transfers in we need to be talking about. So this game week, it seems to be all about the defenders in terms of our experts. Our experts are making big defender transfers right now, and Nathan Ake has really emerged as a top transfer target. He really has, and part of that is because of the injury to Gvardiol. So Gvardiol is injured for 2 to 3 weeks, which is going to rule him out of this game week, probably next game week as well. So you can get a really nice Ake, who is going to be playing in that left-back position, more than likely, getting more nailed on. I mean, he's been pretty nailed on for Man City anyway recently. And I think that Gvardiol injury just kind of extends that, and Ake becomes a really nice, solid pick. He's got decent attacking numbers compared to the other Man City defenders as well, although don't expect too much from him. So it really does make sense to go for him. If you're looking for a new defender, Ake is target number one. Double game week player, no blank next game week, and actually fairly nailed on in this Man City team, which we know is a reasonably good defense. Outside of that, we've got Reguilon and Van Dijk, each with 10 transfers in. Both double game week players this week, with Reguilon also playing in 26 and also playing in 29. So Reguilon, some advantages there. Set piece taker, although don't really expect too many clean sheets this game week, with that double game week looking pretty tough against the likes of Liverpool and Man City. Van Dijk, on the other hand, could be interesting. I think Liverpool fans, you'll probably agree that Van Dijk is by far your most nailed on defender right now. Maybe some question marks over some of the other positions, but yeah, Van Dijk is certainly that guy who is going to be nailed on. Darwin, still some interest in him. His form is looking, it's looking okay. He is scoring goals, he is getting assists, but maybe not finishing every chance. But he's getting so many chances that he is getting the FPL points still, which is very, very useful. De Bruyne, off the back of a sensational performance in the Champions League with a goal and 2 assists. This guy is bang on form if you can get the minutes out of him. And this double game week, I don't see why he couldn't get a decent amount of minutes. We're looking at 120 minutes from him over the double game week, which I think is good enough for a De Bruyne in these 2 big games. Tony, double game week player again. And outside of that, with Trent out, maybe Connor Bradley is going to be playing at right back. Will we see 2 games from him over the double? Potentially. 4.1 million, nice and cheap. Foden and Diogo Jota at the bottom there as well. So, with that in mind, let's suggest some transfers for you. So, first of all, let's look at Trent. If you are a Trent owner, you probably want to sell him. And if you are going to do that, there's 3 standout options: Ake, Reguilon, and Van Dijk. So get those transfers moving. You can free up a lot of budget, depending on who you go for. Whoever you downgrade to, really, you are going to free up money by making this transfer. And that's going to be really useful to upgrade some of the other areas of your pitch potentially there. But yeah, Reguilon, certainly, you can basically free up 4 million, which is a huge amount of money to free up. And you get a player for Game Week 26 and Game Week 29 as well. So real benefits there. But Ake, I think, is the standout choice this game week if you're looking for a new defender. Pedro Porro is also a potential sell here. Ake in, again, it would be a pretty nice move, although you could have a look at some of those other options as well. Our experts were kind of split on who they're going to be bringing in. I know Ake was the favourite, but yeah, if you're selling Pedro Porro, there are some different options for you there. As for forwards, Solanke or Watkins, both seeing some transfers out. There is not a strong trend towards these transfers, and I think these transfers will be luxury. If you really don't have any other moves to make, then a Solanke or a Watkins to a Darwin or a Tony could work. Again, got to look at your Game Week 26 team. Does it look like bringing in Darwin will actually damage your Game Week 26 team a lot? Can you cover it with a wildcard or a free hit next week? Or is it actually that you kind of need more of a Tony in your team with a double now and plenty of fixtures in the future as well? No blanks for him. If so, fair enough, go for it. But Solanke and Watkins, selling them, I believe that is luxury, but a few of our experts do seem to want to make these kind of moves to get that extra double game week player in this game week. And finally, I've put Palmer to De Bruyne here, the most popular midfield sell with the most popular midfield buy. I don't know how on earth you're going to find 5 million to do this, but maybe selling Trent AlexanderArnold might help you upgrade the likes of Palmer to De Bruyne. You might need to make multiple transfers to make this happen, but De Bruyne is target number 1 for midfielders, so it would seem. So yeah, Palmer to De Bruyne if you can afford that. If you've got maybe another midfielder that you're not too happy with, not too convinced with at the moment, maybe you can move them to De Bruyne as well. A few people asking about the likes of, should I sell Saka for De Bruyne or, Diogo Jota for De Bruyne? Yeah, according to our expert numbers, absolutely not. No one is selling Saka. No one's selling, a lot of these top midfielders. If the midfielder is not in the experts sell list, then you probably shouldn't sell them unless they're quite an obscure player. But if they're a popular player and our experts aren't selling them, it's an indication that you probably shouldn't sell them. So if you've got a player who, like Palmer, Man City, and then a blank, possibly a few people transferring out Richarlison, don't like that as much, but Richarlison to De Bruyne could maybe work as well. But your Sakas, your other double game week players, like Foden's or, players like that, no, probably not the move to make. Which brings us to our captaincy before we move on to the double game week players and mounts. And we need to talk about captaincy. This is a pretty straightforward conversation. Haaland, 93% captaincy numbers there. That is seriously, seriously high. I've put on screen as well the triple captaincy numbers as well. So 93% of our experts are captaining Haaland, and 85%, so the vast majority of them, all but 8 of the Haaland captainers, will also be triple captaining Haaland, which is, yeah, really, really huge numbers. This is a player who is going to be such high ownership in the top 100,000 players, 500,000, maybe a top 1 million. It really is going to be really significant, and he's going to be a player who can, you know, if you don't have him, or even if you're not triple captain him, could really, really do some damage to your FPL season. So really strongly recommend a triple captain on Haaland this week with those fixtures. We do have a few people going for De Bruyne as a captain. It's a bit of a risk, but it is a calculated one, because if you can get minutes out of De Bruyne, and there's every chance he gets 2 starts in 2. I know some people will say he won't start. Ask yourself, you know, do you have De Bruyne? If you don't have De Bruyne, you're probably going to be more inclined to say he's not going to start, and vice versa. But there is definitely a chance. We need to stay balanced here, and we have to accept that there's a chance De Bruyne plays both games. There's a chance De Bruyne plays one game. If he plays both, and, you know, he's a midfielder, gets extra points for clean sheets and goals, this could be big. This could be big. I mean, looking at the Champions League game, De Bruyne dominated Haaland in terms of what would be points, I guess. So it could definitely pay off. It could definitely pay off. And De Bruyne was looking better and better every game. Got his rest last game week, of course, as well. So yeah, I kind of like this in a way, but is it safe? Is it sensible? No. Erling Haaland is the safe and sensible choice. And we've got 2%. Not just captaining, but triple captaining Salah, which is absolutely crazy to me. It really is. But Salah, he's back in training. He's not in full contact training right now, but he is back in training, and he could get some minutes. You know, you probably expect to see maybe 90 minutes from Salah over the double game, because we know what damage Salah can do in 90 minutes. So I don't see why you should be completely against it. Again, probably not completely sensible, but, you know, if it pays off, could be season defining. And 1% captaining and triple captaining Darwin Núñez, which is pretty ludicrous. But I'll let you guys discuss in the comments what you think about that one. But very strong trends towards Haaland, very strong trends towards triple captaining Haaland. I say just do it. Don't even think about it. If you're questioning it, don't stop questioning it. You have to be seriously confident in another player, or seriously a risk taker. Maybe even, you know, a self-destructive risk taker if you're going elsewhere in this game week. And there's nothing wrong with taking risks, of course, but sitting here and trying to make a recommendation, particularly, you know, with the use of this data, Haaland triple captain, just do it. Get it done. All of our top managers are doing it. Well, not all of them, but, you know, the vast majority. You know, this is an extreme trend. It really does suggest that this is the play. This is the right move. And finally, let's look at this. We don't do this in the experts videos, but I thought I'd throw in an extra question this week for our experts, which, yeah, let me know if you'd like to see me do this kind of thing in future videos. But I thought, you know, let's see how many double game week players do our experts have. This was, of course, actually a suggestion from one of our experts, actually. So, yeah, thanks for the suggestions, and thanks for all of your suggestions on these videos. I do really appreciate them. But we can see here, get an idea of how many double game week players the top FPL managers are going to have this game week. And we've got an average of 5.72 double game week players, with most managers really floating around the 4 to 6 area. So 4 to 6 double game week players, I think you should be reasonably happy with. Now, you can take what you like from this data. I think it's interesting at the very least, but I have to admit, you know, when I look at this, I do think, you know, how many double game week players does a person have doesn't really tell the full story. I mean, if one of your double game week players is, you know, Trent, for example, then obviously he's more like a non-doubling player. If one of your double game week players is, you know, like a Kaminsky or maybe a Region rather than a Haaland or a De Bruyne, then obviously, you know, the Haalands and the De Bruynes are double game week players are worth a lot more than some of the other double game week players. So you can maybe get some from this. I think one more thing is that particularly those with higher numbers of double game week players, they might actually struggle in game week 26, because you've got triple Liverpool, maybe 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 Luton players, and you're going to struggle to field a full 11 in game week 26. And some of our expert managers will have a plan for this, wildcards, free hits and the like, but it's still something to be aware of. So even if you are kind of looking at this, getting a little bit worried, thinking, okay, there's a lot of people with 7, 8, 9, 10, even 11 double game week players. I'm a little bit worried about this. Well, remember, one of our expert managers is free hitting. They're going to have 11 double game week players. You know, we're going to have some of our experts who very recently wildcarded. They're already going to be prepared and set up for this double game week. And again, going into game week 26, we could see a different situation. Now, I might actually do the question in Game Week 26, how many playing players do you have for Game Week 26? Because you might find if you are lower on this chart today, you might actually be higher on the chart for next game week. So you might feel a little bit better next week. So don't worry about these numbers too much, but it is interesting. And the average number is 5.72. I would say if you have 5 and they are the right 5, you are in a great position and you need not worry at all. So don't feel like you need to push yourself to 6, 7 if you don't want to. If you think it's going to damage you in the future, if you're going to have to take hits this week and next in order to do so, then yeah, chill. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And there we have it, guys, an extra special episode of our 100 Experts, and hopefully we learned a lot today. I certainly did. A lot of the trends we saw today wasn't necessarily expected to see. Some maybe a little bit more predictable, to be fair, such as the haul-in situation. But guys, if you enjoyed this one, drop a like, do subscribe. If you want to check out another video, please do. Left a link there to do that. I would appreciate that. And aside from that, guys, I'll see you tomorrow for my team selection video, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.